And so, it's funny growing up, and even through today, I was always the last one to find out about anything. And what makes it worse is Mexicans love secrets. Right? That's the way it goes. And every time I asked them, guys, why do you wait to tell me about everything? You guys just wait and tell me everything. Well, you're dramatic, you overreact, you flip out on all these little things, right? So, okay. Now, some of you may be familiar from school with the game Chinese Whisper, or I guess it's called telephone. So, for those of you that don't know what that is, you put children in a circle, you start with a message, they whisper to the next one, and you see if the message can make it all the way around without being changed. Well, that's my life in a nutshell as the older brother in that house, okay? And so I would tell them all the time, you guys, the reason I'm dramatic and the reason that I flip out is because by the time any information makes it to me, it's a big deal. It's major, it's blown up, somebody's gonna die, right? It's a big ordeal. And so, one day, sometime, I guess this was near the end of 2020, I'm on social, so keep this in mind, right, as we go forward. So, sometime in 2020, towards the end, I get on social media and I see that both Jackie and Andrea are out of town. They've gone somewhere, right? And so I can't quite remember who I was talking to. Maybe my mom. Where's my mom? Oh, she's still
there.
I can't remember who it was, and I asked, well, where did the losers go now? We refer to them as losers. And they said, well, Utah. They're in Utah. Okay? I said, well, that's cool. What are they there for, right? What's in Utah? I don't remember. So this is where the example of the Chinese Whisper game comes into play.
Mobile connected.
So I was told every year this guy has a massive party at his mansion where he invites, we're getting to you, Gary, hang tight, right? Where he invites a bunch of girls and everyone stays at his house and parties the whole time. Now, I was also told it's Elise's friend somehow why they got invited, right? And someone couldn't go, so Andrea got to go in her place. Oh, it gets better. Somebody couldn't go, Andrea got to go in her place. And so I'm thinking, damn, Andrea got sucked into this. It's one of Jackie's ordeals. And then I'm thinking, Jackie's going to this big magic party. Jackie's going hunting. Like, we already know what's going on here. So they get back from this trip. I'm beyond, I used to love hearing these stories. It's always something, right? So I'm really interested to hear about this party. And then sometime later, I find out, Andrea met somebody there. And he's been traveling back and forth from Utah and Austin. He's coming to visit, all these things. And I'm just thinking, well, that's interesting, right? So, okay. And he's been to Austin more than once, but she really, really likes him. It's like, okay. Now, again, keep in mind, all of this could be completely untrue, but this is all I know because it's what I've been told at this point. So here's really where my concerns, I think, started to come in. Okay. So for those of you that don't know, 2020 was actually a really interesting year for Utah because polygamy was officially decriminalized after 85 years. Went from a felony to a citation, I think. And so I'm thinking, well, what better way to celebrate that if I was a polygamist? What better way to celebrate than to have a party in my mansion at the end of some year? Now I'm recruiting sister wives or whatever. And so normally I would have been concerned for Jackie or Andrea, but they both need to be the center of attention, so I don't think they work out. And so sometime later, Andrea calls me and says, hey, out of nowhere, I really want you guys to meet Reed. He's a great guy. We're going to come to San Antonio, and we want you and Nikki to meet us for dinner. I'm like, okay, we're there. Here it comes. So we're driving to dinner. I'm on the way to dinner. And, me as the older brother, in my head, I'm strategizing how this is going to go, right? Am I going to ease him into this? Do I come on real strong? Like, what, do I scare the shit out of him? What are we doing? And as I'm in my head driving, my mom calls. And basically it's like, hey, Are you guys on your way to dinner? Yeah. Okay. Well, I want you guys call me the minute you're done. I want to know what happened. I want to know details. I want to know, what is he like? I need everything. Nikki, don't let me down. She hangs up. And so I'm just like, okay, Chief, right? We'll get there. And so we get to the dinner. We sit down. We're waiting. They're late. Shocker, like 20 minutes. So they're coming in. They both walk in together, and they walked in from a pretty far distance, I think, from where we were sitting. And so I turned to Nikki and I said, "Oh, he's a jerk." And she goes, "Well, why?" And I said, "He's 7 feet tall and ridiculously good looking." He's just a jerk, right? And so, of course, Nikki's like, "Come on, just roll with it. We're fine. We'll be fine." And so, Nikki, unbeknownst to me, right at some point, when my mom called, got really motivated, and Nikki literally took that as like, how did I write this earlier? This really needs to come across. She was on a mission. She was a sniper. She was on a recon mission, right? And there was zero room for failure. Like, she had to come through on this. So she's psyching herself up. I'm not aware of this at all. Andrea and Reed come in, they sit down at dinner, and it's small talk for about 10 minutes, and we're kind of rolling through it. And all of a sudden, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna make my move. Let's do this, right? So I'm kind of thinking about how I'm gonna do it. Before the words can come out of my mouth, Nikki grabs her mega pint Modelo or whatever she's doing, literally sits back and goes, you do a lot of traveling back and forth from Utah to Austin. Do you not have a job? I said, Nikki, well, I don't know if I would have asked like that, but as I'm trying to register what she just did, here comes an onslaught barrage of just, she's beating him up left and right. What do you do? Are you sure? Asking him about real estate. We've been in real estate a long time. And so she's just really beating him up really good. Reed was such a good sport about it. I will give him that. So it wasn't really until probably Thanksgiving, I think. We were at my parents' in El Paso. We went to spend Thanksgiving. And it was the first opportunity that we had to really hang out with Reed one-on-one, play games, really kind of, really get to know him. He's weird. He's a little weird. But he was a great guy. He's walking around, helping himself to the fridge, loading my mom's dishwasher, which that's a big deal. But he was just, we could tell right away that he really cared a lot about Andrea.
Power
He loved her
off.
very much, and that was a big deal for us. And so, I don't know if I'm taking too much time. So, fast forward, we're on a little trip to the beach with the family. And we're all hanging out in the living room one night, and Reed and Andrea, say, "Hey, come sit down. We have something we need to ask you." So, all right. So we sit down, and Reed says, "We'd really like for you to officiate." What? Well, we've been drinking all day, right? I'm usually the one that's messing around, cutting up a little bit, and I said, "Are you sure?" "Yeah." Okay. And he's like, "Man, we really would." And he basically said, let me rephrase it, I would be honored if you would do this because you seem to be such an important part to this family and you seem to be at the center of it, and we would love to have you stand up here and do this. And I'll tell you, I rarely become speechless or anything like that. I was mind blown. The humility I felt, right, and the honor was just absolutely incredible. And it wasn't until the next day, as I'm kind of just really thinking about all this, I realized, well, wait a minute. Reed's an event planner, and part of running any business is to cut costs. So I knew right away what happened is him and Andrea go, "We'll give your brother a stage. He'll get up there. He'll go get ordained. He'll do this for free." So that's okay, guys. I have the envelope ready to go. So I don't know which parents I'm getting, which side, but we're gonna figure it out. But again, this has been such an awesome journey watching them. It's amazing how much she cares about him, how much she loves him, how much he cares about her and loves her. And we're really excited. I'm so glad to be a part of this. Thank you all for coming. I know a lot of you traveled a long way, some much further than others. Who here's from Utah? I'm just curious.
Oh, wow.
Guys, when you back up later. But I think we're ready to go. But let's get these guys married.